Hello there. So for today's video, I kind of wanted to more of a discussion-y type. So I wanted to go talk about like it's a mindset thing really, in regards to like fighting, and this is probably it's equally applicable to sort of self-defense and like sport fighting, really, because it kind of affects like fighting in general, but it's more like the sort of psychology of being confident and having that confident aura about you, in a sense. So I don't know how many fight situations you've been in, but if you know, can you think of one where the person you were against, you don't know how good they are or anything, but like they had a really sort of confident aura? Maybe especially if they're bigger than you, they'll probably naturally have this anyway, that they feel confident, and they'll like stare at you and they'll like not be afraid to like approach, and you get a sense of intimidation from that, and that affects your ability to actually do things as well. So if you can like reverse that and be the one that's actually exuding that confident aura, even if you're physically smaller or lighter than your opponent, you can still project, because it mostly comes through your eyes, I think, mainly, and if you're not afraid to like get closer and approach, it comes through like staring, eye contact, and having that sort of serious expression, not joking around. That can actually be a major psychological advantage sometimes, a lot of the time really. If you can win that psychological battle, the rest of the fight will just, it's like a natural side effect of that sort of psychological game. So you also have to have a stubbornness. So if in case you find yourself losing the psychological game, getting weaker in that sense, you have to have this kind of internal stubbornness that kind of pushes back and tries to get back into it. But the mental game is very underlooked, but it's actually super important, because it comes down to perception. You will physically act only in ways that you perceive you can. Really, you won't act in ways that you perceive you can't. It's like when you see people who are so terrified of doing something, and they don't even believe that it's physically possible for them to do it until they're really pushed to do it. Then afterwards, the whole like perception is completely changed, because they realize they can, but they didn't think they could, and so they'd never acted in that way, even though they could act in that way. And it's the same sort of thing. So if you don't believe deep down, if you don't have that inner confidence and self-belief that you can beat the person in front of you, you won't act in ways that enable you to actually beat them. You'll be extra defensive. You'll not take opportunities to strike and take advantage of things. You won't ultimately really put all your effort into it. So you have to develop this sort of inner confidence and understanding of this kind of psychological mind game that goes on during either like a sport fight, and there's usually lots of prep for that anyway, or like a real street fight, self-defense scenario. Often if it's someone attacking you in a self-defense scenario, they will have this they'll think that they can take you, basically. So it'll usually might often be someone who's bigger than you, or just louder in some way. So that they'll usually have this confidence, and if you can like match it or like overshadow it, it'll kind of shatter their sort of glass sort of prism, their perspective in a way, and it'll make them have some level of self-doubt if you don't just immediately shrink to their sort of confident aura, if you sort of match it or like try and outshine it. And that can give you a big advantage then. If they have some kind of lurking doubt, it'll make them like more cautious. So that's just a bit of a sort of overview why this sort of psychological element to fighting is actually really important. It's kind of easily overlooked. But let me know what you think about it, if you got anything else to add. Aside from that, I will see you in the next video.